We're looking at our unit on understanding fractions. In this unit, students learn that fractions represent part-whole relationships, and they develop deep understandings. We begin where students partition a variety of models into equal parts. Here we have a circle model partitioned into halves. And then they learn to shade those parts. We begin with unit fractions. And we change the models. Here we have the area model. Moving on from unit fractions, using a number line, students make partitions like 4/8. In the second week of this unit, students learn to write numbers to represent the models. They learn that when the denominator is 6, well, it's describing 6 equal parts, and a numerator of 1, one shaded part, or one part that we're considering. They use different models, and they get a visceral sense that when we're talking about 3/10, there really are tenths, and we're describing 3 of those. So it's not as abstract. It has a more concrete relationship. Likewise with 3/8 in a different model. Students are then given the opportunity to create a model based on a description. Make the model for 2/3, and then they move on, withdraw the model, actually write the fraction 2/3. 2 weeks, and they understand this. Beginning in the third week, students learn strategies for comparing fractions. When they look at 2/3 and compare it to 2/8, they realize that those thirds have larger equal parts and the eighths smaller parts, and they understand why 2/3 is larger than 2/8. They can do that on a number line. They can do it with comparison bins. We use a variety of fractions and a variety of representations. In the fourth and final week of this unit, we place a lot of emphasis on comparing fractions to the benchmark of 1/2, doing so on a number line, realizing that more than one fraction can actually represent that benchmark of 1/2, 1/2, 2/4, 4/8, and seeing that they can all aggregate on a number line. By the end of the unit, after comparing 1/8 to 4/8 to 7/8, students are able to take a fraction like 3/8 and estimate its location on the number line relative to 1/2, relative to 0 and 1. So they've isolated their knowledge and they really understand what 3/8 represents. Throughout the month-long unit, students have the opportunity to work with tool investigations. Here they're working with pattern blocks. Using blue rhombuses, they can shade in 1/2 of this area. And they can also use green triangles to shade in the other half. They work with unitizing grids. If this red area is equivalent to 12/12, well then this green area, it's going to be 6/12. And they culminate their work with a real-world investigation. We present data to begin with, a picture of children on a bus. What fraction are on the bus or off, or boys or girls? Then they start to color the picture, and they have their own data. Eye color. What fraction did you make with blue eyes or brown eyes? Hair color, the same. And then we actually have the students use all their own data in a class survey. Tell us what fraction of the students in your class like one food over another or prefer a sport over another. And so by the time the students are done with this unit, they not only understand that fractions represent part-whole relationships, but they know what fraction of the students in the class prefer pizza over burgers. And so that's how our unit on understanding fractions unfolds.